most often mark our history by particular events and achievements that have occurred. But truly the history of a university is its people. And I recognize that many of you in this room have indeed made the history of UCSF over the last 50 years.
I'm here actually today to continue to trace the path that UCSF took to get where we are today. And with the help of some of UCSF's most luminary and distinguished faculty, we're going to map out for you defining moments along the way through brief historical vignettes. The story actually begins 150 years ago with the founding of the oldest school on the campus, which happens to be the medical school, named for Hugh Tolan, who was a physician from South Carolina who had been lured west by the gold rush. He not only wanted to strike it rich, but he also wanted to save his wife, Mary Avery, who was critically ill with tuberculosis.
They decided to put a sponge in to stop the bleeding.
For more than 100 years, we publicized to the world in our recruitment brochures that we were the first college of pharmacy established west of the Mississippi River.
The second nursing student anecdote comes from World War II, when there was a radically increased demand for nurses. And the school responded by streamlining the program so that what formerly had taken 5 years now took 3 years and 8 months.
Many of you were here in the 1960s and the 1970s when science at UCSF took off and we led the world in recombinant DNA science, enabling the expression of biologics for therapeutic uses for the very first time. Herb Boyer, professor of biochemistry here at UCSF, and others started Genentech, and the biotechnology revolution began.
You may know Michael Harrison, who is a pediatric surgeon and actually is the father of fetal surgery in the world. In the 70s, late 70s, he was a resident. He realized that many diseases from which children die actually are congenital diseases and start in utero, in the fetus. So he had the brainchild of actually addressing those diseases before the children are born.
Skipping ahead a decade to the 1980s, a time when San Francisco and the country was under siege by a new disease, HIV/AIDS. Our folks again were on the front lines, and I expect that some of you in this room were working alongside Paul Volberding when he saw his first patient with Kaposi's sarcoma in 1981.
Early in the epidemic, the School of Dentistry developed an international AIDS specimen bank. This was entirely unique in the world at that time. One of our faculty members, Dr. John Greenspan, initiated that, and it continues.
These discoveries transform their respective fields. UCSF's Nobel laureates share a courage of conviction, intellect, endurance, wide-open minds, and gigantic leaps of faith. The same qualities Hugh Tolan summoned to climb into that wagon in South Carolina at the age of 46, not knowing exactly where it would take him.